displaying data from multiple tables. By now you know that we have a employee table, we have a department table, and we have location table. Well, in database we putting the data in multiple table to reduce the redundancy and duplicated information. If you remember that we're using first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, and in some other word even the fourth and fifth normal form, to removing all possible redundancy among the data that we have. So and it causes that we have to create multiple tables. Anyway, it is good that we do not have redundancy in database and duplication of information in database. But the bad point is going to be that we have to break the information to multiple tables, as you're going to see the department table, right here, the employee table, and the location table. But putting this information together and asking, for example, select all employee, which their department is 10 and the location is Dallas. So we have to join these three tables together to extract data from multiple tables. There are many ways to join this table. Let's look at one by one. The type of joint that we have start from natural join and using clause, unclause, self joint, and as you're going to see right here. Let's consider we try to select the department ID, department name, and location ID and city. But we know the department ID, department name, they are in the department table, but location ID and city, they are in location table. Here, as you're going to see, department name and department ID, they are part of the department table, but location and city, they are part of the city is part of the location table. Now, if we back to this data right here, location, as we said, location ID and city, they are member of the second table. If I want to combine these two tables to each other, I have to find a joint key, which is joining these two tables to each other. That joint is natural joint. What is the natural joint? Natural joint, you're going to say, I have a location ID right here, and this same location ID available right here, and we're asking the Oracle database to find out a location ID with the number size 4 and location ID with the number size 4 available in both tables. So normally natural joint is that we're going to give the responsibility to Oracle database to detect the field of the table in department table which is matching the field in the location table, and at least one of them is supposed to be a primary key, which is location ID in location table is a primary key. So the format, the syntax format that we're going to write is going to be up to right here is similar to before, but we're going to say select from department, then we're going to natural join to location table, and putting this information together and generate a result. If we copy this one and move this one to PuTTY and execute it in the PuTTY, you're going to see that let me bring my PuTTY, make it a little bit bigger so you all can see it, and you're going to see that if we execute it, then it's going to generate all the row available. But what I did in this select statement, I used the department ID in 10 or 20 or reduce it only to 20, so you're reducing the number of rows that is going to return it to you. Let's consider I'm going running the same query, but this time I'm going to use the where clause, and where clause to reduce number of rows. So you're going to see that only I have department 20, I don't have anything such as department 50. Let's go ahead and look at example for using clause. Well, if I have multiple key which is similar in both table, Well, I have location. For example, let's consider a scenario. I have location ID, and I have some other ID, similar, same ID in the other table, and I have a preference, and I don't want Oracle pick up any unique ID that you find out in both table. I may using the option of using. So I'm going to say select location department from and department ID from location ID L join department. This is the alias. Join the department D and right share. This is another joint that just using joint. In this example that we use the natural joint. But if I don't want using natural joint and I would like to use a joint which I prefer, so I'm going to using from location and give him alias L join department, which I'm going to give him alias D, using location ID as a joint key that combining these two tables together. Let's run this example too. Well, this example generates a lot of rows, so it is not bad idea that if we squeeze it, filter that one, or using some other example, you're going to see that it generates 124 rows. Well, we can use a reduce number of the row that you're going to return to us. We can use the same option that we used before and the same example that right here we used. For natural joint, we can use them for joint option, and so you're going to return us only for department 20. And as you're going to see that you're going to return the result for department 20, but you're going to see is multiple information. Here's another example that we can use the joint, and we asking the information from both table, but this is another model that old version of Oracle even up to still is available. We can use that one, and we selecting location department location ID and location ID department name from location and department, where L dot locate department ID is equal to D department ID. One item from department table, which is department ID, similar to department ID on the location table. So this is another example which is work the same. Well, I will correct this example. Right here we have to put alias for all the field, because some of this field they are duplicated, exist in both table. So we're going to use this one from location, we call it L, and department D, and also I changed the location ID similar in both table. So this is a form of joint that we're going to join in two tables to each other. Let's try this example too, and as you're going to see that we're running this example and generate the same output. The next part we're going to use the on clause. Here's another example that we use with the on clause. Select again, we use the alias of two table, employee E joining the department D, but we would like to join take place on the E department ID and D department ID. So from E one ID, from D another ID. This is another type that we're going to using on clause. Again, in this example, we would like to say only we would like to this ID which is similar in both table, in the table employee and in the table department. Don't make mistake. The previous example that we did in the location. We did the on location. We used the location example. And also we use the old data, old type that Oracle using the joint, and this is the old one, which we use the location ID in the first table, which is the location table, similar to D location ID, which is on the department table. Let's run this example too, and if we're running this example, you're going to see that combining these two tables together, employee and department, around one ID, and that one is department ID, which is similar in both tables. Here's another example of the self joint, like the old version of Oracle 10 and 11, they're using the same model as before. This is another type of the joint which is similar to this joint right here that we're using. And in this example, again, we're using department ID and D department ID and E employee department ID. Well, we can using the plus in this side or this side, and we're going to talk about the right and left joint, which is if there is a null field in this side, it's going to show us, and if there is a null field in the right side, by using plus in the right side, it's going to show it to us. So this example right here is similar to this example, and right here is another example similar. Let's look at this query right here. I have information right here. Let me show you. It doesn't show you the right. Here you go. The query that I have is right here, and it is taking the last name and manager ID. And as you going to see in this list, the king is the president. He doesn't have a manager ID, but this person right here, his manager is manager 100. Manager ID is 100. This person manager is 100, 102, 103. So some of these people, you're going to find out that they are manager of some other employees. And so if for me to find out who is the manager of whom, I have to find a joint key to joining these two tables. So you're going to see manager ID 108. In this example, it is his manager ID. Who is 108? 108 right here is this example. For example, this is the manager person. So by this manager ID, let me run another example, probably it's make more. Well, this example is clear. See, the king is the manager of this person right here. So the manager ID 100 belongs to the king. Now this person, his manager ID still is king. King is the president and take care of these two people. But right here 102, he's the manager of this person. Now if I want to find out the information somehow related to each other, a person is president, but he's, by the way, he's the manager of 2-3 other employees. The way that I can find out this one, it's possible if I joining the same table with itself. Let's look at this example. I'm going to say select last name of the employee, which is manager. Let's put this one, his manager, and M dot last name is manager. So by this example, I'm going to find out one time I name it table employee W, the other time I name the table employee M. So I'm going to using W worker work for this manager, and by running this query I can find out who is the manager of whom. Let's run this example. And you're going to see that right here, as we said, the king is the Fei. His manager is king. King is manager of all these people. By the way, this person is manager of all these people. And just name it. So this is another way that we looking the content of the same table containing the manager ID and the employee, and a person is manager of somebody else. And this hierarchical relation exists among the employee table. Now how we can extract those information? By joining a table to itself, and that's what we call it, the self join. The other type of the joint, we call it non-equal join. And non-equal join in when I try to joining those two tables, but really not very much relative field exists on both tables. Indirectly, these two tables, they related to each other. Let's look at this example. We have employee table and we have job grade table. Now, the non-equijoint, I'm going to say where the employee salary between the job lowest salary and job highest salary from the job grade table. So I taking a salary from employee table and compare it with the range salary which is exist on the table of job grade. Right here, this job grade. And this type of joint, we call it non-equijoint. Here is the rampart of the non-equijoint table. The other type of joint that we have, there are left joint, right joint, full joint, and outer joint, which is, they are all these three pieces, they are part of the outer joint. Let's imagine in the left and right outer joint what it does mean. I'm trying to selecting the last name, department ID, and department name from two table, employee and department. But as previous module, you know, if when I comparing the information in one table, but maybe in the other table the department ID is null for this specific department ID in the department table and employee table. Let's consider department ID in the department table has a value, but department ID in the employee table does not have any value for the department ID, but it has value for other information. So let's put it somehow, this side or this side, sometime the value is null. And if it is null, as we said before, if it is the null, Oracle jump over row and won't display that row. But if this side is null, but still I want to grab this side and whatever left from this side or leaving null and display the row. So that's what we're going to use it, the left joint or right joint. The old model of Oracle left joint and right joint, you're going to use a plus sign in the right or a plus sign in the left. So that's what the Oracle used before. But recently they changed it to a new model and they call it left outer joint or right outer joint. That's the model that they're using now. So when we combining two tables, we're going to say from table employee outer joint, left outer joint, department D on this field, on the share field which is exists between the both table. Now this query also we can run it. Now the combination of, I can change this left to right, similar to this one that I said right here, I may put him to the right or to the left, this plus sign. Similar right here, I can change the left to the right. Now if we using for both sides, that's what we call it the full outer joint. So we can take the left right out and call it the full. But in the old model we cannot have the plus sign in both sides of it.